Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GrimQuest Origins. This is going to be a gameplay video where I'll be teaching you how to become a better gamer in the world of GrimQuest Origins. We really need to have a better name to distinguish both games. So let's call GrimQuest Origins just Origins, and GrimQuest just GQ. That way, confusion should be at a minimum. So without further ado, let's dive into the wonderful world of Happy Quest. Origins. Yes, Origins. Naturally, we are going to be creating ourselves a lovely new character. And of course, we're gonna be playing on normal difficulty, Grim, permadeath off, and as for the advanced settings, as always, the event frequency will be set to more. Because more events mean more opportunities to get loot and get rich. With the difficulty settings good to go, let's move on to the background select. But before anything else, we need a name for our lovely character here. And he will be, yes, you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, it's the one, the only, Zakma the Hick. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, he's back. The legendary Mr. Hick is back. And he's back once again to guide you in the world of Origins. Oh yes. For the background, pretty much any background that increases strength, intelligence, agility, and perception are good picks. Just choose them depending on what build you want to make. You want to make a melee build? Then choose either Imperial Knights for an increase in strength and base damage, or the Explorer's Guild for an increase in perception and critical chance. Both are good picks for a melee-oriented build, as both stats increase your damage. Same with a mage build. Pick the Suncourt Sages for an increase in intellect and spell power, and so on and so forth. But the best character background out of them all is Freelancer over here. It is the most versatile background, as well as it gives us an extra perk of our liking that will benefit us in long term. Look at the other perks on the other backgrounds. Martial Training gives a 15% discount on skills upgrade costs. Arcane Studies gives a discount on spell upgrades and etc. These perks are garbage, and they become obsolete once you have everything maxed out. Sure, you can save up gold from these perks, but gold isn't a problem in this game, and never will be.
But chicken, what about South Sea Company and Thousand Temples?
Those are garbage, okay? Never choose them. Endurance is garbage, and Charisma is actually the worst stat in the game. What? You thought you can seduce enemies in the game with high Charisma? Yeah, me too. It's sad, isn't it? Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, GrimQuest Dating Simulator is yet to come, so there will be no seducing in the game. Yeah. Alright, let's choose Freelancer and proceed. Now for the attribute distribution. Like I said, just spend them on whatever build you want to make. You want to make a mage build? Then go ahead and increase intelligence. But for me, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make a melee build. Going melee will serve us better in the end game. I also want my damage to be alternating between melee and spellcasting. So yes, this will be quite a build. We have 6 points. I will put 2 points on strength, 2 points on perception, and 2 points on agility. That should give us a considerably advantageous stats to work with. Never increase endurance and charisma. The only significant increase endurance makes is your HP. Each endurance point increases your max HP by 5, which is garbage. As for the charisma, it increases the barter rate, which is again garbage since gold isn't a problem. And the fear resistance doesn't really matter that much. With our stats good to go, let's proceed. Now for the perk select. Since we have chosen Freelancer as our background, we are able to take 2 starting perks. All of the perks are good. They all benefit you in their own way. Definitely good picks are of course Bookworm over here. It gives us an additional spell cast which is invaluable to magic users. Another good pick is Escape Slave. Even though its effects are severely nerfed compared to the first game, it still serves purpose as traveling without supplies in this game is a lot deadlier. But the best of all is Fool's Luck over here. It gives us an astounding 10% chance of success to all dungeon events. This is definitely a must-have perk. Dungeon events are very beneficial for the player and will mitigate a lot of the dungeon difficulties. So naturally we are gonna be taking it. As for our second perk, I am going to pick heavy-handed here. Heavy-handed gives us an increase in critical damage. You might think that this is a very unusual perk for me to choose, considering there's Bookworm or Scape Slave for me to take. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's because it is unusual. You'll see soon, ladies and gentlemen, why heavy-handed is very useful as a starting perk. With our perks selected, let's finish creating our character. Alright, so it's day 1 and we have 500 gold in the bank. First thing that we should do is to go to the shop and buy ourselves a weapon. Buying a weapon is mandatory, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna have a very difficult time fighting enemies if you don't buy a weapon in the first day. And the best weapon in the game is an axe, basically hacking weapons. Stabbing weapons aren't good unless you have a high critical chance. Slashing weapons are only usable in the late game to end game stages. Main reason is the skill flurry being nerfed. And crushing weapons, doesn't really have the best damage in the game. And the stun chance is abysmal. If you want to be able to deal high and consistent damage, hacking weapons are the way to go. So let's buy ourselves the War Hatchet. After getting our weapon, we are heading for the Battle Academy to get our first spell. And our first spell will be Dragon's Breath. This spell is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. One of the best offensive spells in the game and definitely a must-have spell. Not only that it has high damage, it's also an AoE spell as it damages 2 adjacent enemies. Not to mention that it also lowers enemy armor, making our melee attacks hurt even more. So we will be taking it as our first spell. And just like that, we are ready for our first dungeon crawl. Oh yeah, go grab some bounties before entering the dungeon. Some potions too with the leftover gold. Alright, just like the first game, take things carefully and slowly. Do not engage in fights you cannot win. There's no shame in retreating if it's a tactical retreat. When fighting, always open the fight with the Dragon's Breath spell. Casting the spell first will be most optimal as it applies a debuff to enemies that decrease their armor, which will make our following melee attacks more effective. When you're low on health, healing potions, or supplies, head for the dungeon exit or the dungeon entrance immediately to go back to Farhaven. If you're low on supplies, don't explore any further as exploring without supplies will heavily damage you and lower your morale. So it's best to go back to Farhaven as soon as your supplies get low. Alright, first dungeon cleared. It's now day 2 and we have 150 gold in the bank. And you know what that means? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are dirt poor. Holy lord, that dungeon run was terrible. Very terrible indeed. Didn't even get us up to 200 gold. Pathetic. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip, I guess. When we have accumulated a considerable amount of wealth enough for us to be called rich. See you guys in a bit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And we have accumulated a considerable amount of wealth enough for us to be classified as a rich person. And with this newfound wealth, we are gonna be getting ourselves a lovely new spell. And our first skill. But first, the spell. For our second spell, we are gonna be taking Thunder Strike over here. It has high and consistent damage as well as a chance to stun enemies. If you don't want to take Thunder Strike, then you have Chaos Ball over here as an alternative. One of the high damaging spells in the game and applies a random debuff on the enemy. Only downside is that its damage range is wide, resulting in a very inconsistent damage output. Nevertheless, it is still a very good spell. But for me, I'm going to take Thunder Strike. As for our first skill, we are gonna be taking Culling over here. Culling guarantees a critical hit on the enemy each time we use the skill. It also has a small chance to instantly kill enemies. This skill is insane, ladies and gentlemen. One of the best skills in the game. And it is also one of the main reasons why hacking weapons are more superior than the other weapon types. Now you see, ladies and gentlemen, why I have taken the perk Heavy-Handed. Basically, with the skill Culling, we are able to deal guaranteed critical hits. Combine that with the Heavy-Handed perk, then we are able to deal an additional 15% critical damage each time we use the skill Culling. The synergy is insane, ladies and gentlemen. If you think that's not insane, then let me introduce the skill Berserker Rage. This passive skill heals our HP each time we do a critical hit. Combine this with Culling and Heavy-Handed, then you have yourself the perfect synergetic love triangle relationship. Each time we use Culling, we are able to deal more damage as well as the ability to heal ourselves in the process. And that sounds pretty insane to me. So we are gonna be taking Culling as our first skill and Berserker Rage as our second, once we have enough money to get it, of course. If you for some reason have taken a different weapon type, then unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you have missed out big time on this skills/perk synergy. Better luck next time, I guess. Alright, as you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, I have leveled up in the middle of the dungeon run and unlocked a perk slot. So we will be choosing our third perk. Like I said earlier, all perks are good. Take note that if you didn't take the perks you liked earlier, then don't worry, as previous perks appear and can still be taken when you unlock more perk slots. Additionally, high level perks will also appear the more you progress and level up. For our third perk, we are gonna be choosing Ruthless Efficiency way down here. It is a passive skill that increases our critical chance by 4%. This perk is generally useful, but it is special to us since we have the perk Heavy-Handed, and now the passive skill Berserker Rage. Consequently, the more critical chance we have, the better they become. Alright, it's day 11, and we have gained ourselves a substantial amount of wealth once again. And this time, we are gonna be upgrading at the blacksmith. Important thing to note are the best upgrade materials. The best upgrade material for upgrading your weapon is iron ingot. Very generic upgrade material, but at the same time, the best upgrade material for weapons. Reason is that it directly increases our base damage. Only upgrade your weapon using iron ingots, nothing else. Increasing our base melee damage early on will make sure that our damage scales with the difficulty of the enemies as the game goes on, and will also benefit us better in the later stages of the game. As for the armor, the best upgrade material is Moonstone Ingot. Upgrading our armor with Moonstone Ingots will give us a 2% increase in our base evasion. It's pretty self-explanatory. More evasion equals, the better. Never upgrade armor with any other material except Moonstone Ingots. Okay, day 12. We have leveled up to level 5 as you can see here. And we have now unlocked an additional spell and skill slot. For our third spell, we are gonna be taking Disintegrate Essence over here. It is similar to the Confusion spell in Grim Quest. Both spells stun the target for 2 turns. Only difference is that Disintegrate Essence has a chance to instantly kill the enemy. This spell is obviously a must-have spell. It will help hugely when it comes to tough fights, especially now since the first boss is up next. So naturally, we're gonna be taking it. As for our third skill, we are gonna earn for Furious Momentum right here. This is an active skill which increases its damage in proportion to the number of elapsed turns. For example, if we use this skill in turn 2, it will deal +1 damage. In turn 3, +2 damage. In turn 4, +3 damage. It will constantly increase in damage the more turns go by during a fight, until it reaches the maximum damage increase. This skill is very useful for mini boss fights or main boss fights alike, and that's another reason why hacking weapons are superior. But due to our severe case of constant poverty, we don't have enough money to buy the skill. So pray that we earn enough money to get it before the boss fight comes. With the death of the Fae avatar, we have successfully passed the early game. And that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as much as I had fun making it. And I hope that it helped you in making your start in Origins less difficult. As always, if you guys have any questions regarding the game, then ask away in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next one.